we go.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, my name is Garrett COF, and my major claim is that implementation of a more extensive instant replay review system in Major League Baseball would be beneficial. And basically I'm talking about an instant replay review by the officials on the field, the umpires, during the game to amend calls that may be in dispute. The three claims that I've got are instant replay would give more integrity to the game and assurance in the calls. The second one is baseball is one of the few professional sports in America now that doesn't have an instant replay review system. And the third one is that instant replay could possibly lead to an increase in attendance and more fan satisfaction. So instant replay giving integrity to the game. Currently there's a system, a limited review system, where the umpires can, if a call is challenged for a home run, whether the ball was over the fence or whether a fan interfered with the ball, is the only thing that can be reviewed as of now. And so with that current review system, which has been in place since 2008, it's been used 54 times, and 22 of the times the call was overturned, which is almost half the time the umpire's being wrong in those challenge situations, which is expected. Umpires are only human and they can't make perfect calls all the time. There's a limited placement of umpires on the field. There's only 4, 1 at each base, and most televised baseball games have a 12-camera setup, which is obviously 8 more angles of the play. And so if there's only one umpire at one base making a call, that's really only one person's objective view of the play. And when you multiply it to 12 cameras, you can obviously get a more accurate representation of what the call was. Currently, one of the big refutations against this is that the umpires' reputations will be hurt, and they don't want to be proved wrong on camera. But all the televised baseball games as of now show the replay of the call anyway, and so the umpire's integrity isn't harmed any more than it already would have been, because everybody sees it. So there's no harm in just making the call official. Secondly, baseball is one of the last sports without an instant replay review. The NFL has created an organized system of challenging calls where a coach can choose to challenge a call twice in a game, and if they're wrong, they lose a timeout, which is an organized way of keeping the review system quick, because a common complaint is that it would slow down gameplay. But obviously the NFL's figured out a system that can not affect the gameplay negatively. Professional tennis has also implemented the Hawkeye system 3 years ago, which uses 8 different cameras to track the trajectory of the ball and tell whether it was in or out on the line calls. And just in last year's U.S. Open, the Hawkeye system overturned 300 calls alone. And so it's hugely successful, and its reception is positive among all the fans. In addition to those 2 sports mentioned, basketball, rugby, NASCAR, and NHRA, hockey, cricket, and now even some NCAA sports are all implementing instant replay review. And in many of these sports, the review is a subjective call, whether a foul was made or something that involves interpretation by the officials. But in baseball, it would be strictly objective, whether a tag was made or whether a ball beat the runner to the base, and so it could be done quickly and without too much effect on the gameplay. Thirdly, instant replay would lead to an increase in attendance, possibly. In one poll last year by Rasmussen Reports, which does a lot of sports reporting and surveys, 700 baseball fans were interviewed, and 63 of them voted for full implementation of replay across the baseball spectrum. So obviously it's in favor of all the fans. And baseball is essentially a business, and so if fans' frustration leads to, or if bad calls by umpires leads to fan frustration, it'll directly affect attendance and people's willingness to come out to the games. I can't attest to this with any factual evidence, but I'm a season ticket holder for the Dodgers, and I've talked to many people who say if the inconsistency in the calls of the officials is so much, they would consider not coming out to the games or supporting the team as much. And so more assurance in the calls would lead to a more trusting fan base and devotion to their teams, and will adversely increase attendance. So overall, the integrity of the game will be positively affected because the umpires will be able to make more official calls. That'll create more trust in the fan base and possibly increase attendance. And baseball is one of the only professional sports in the country that's not taking advantage of this technology and staying current in the times. So implementation of a more extensive video replay system in baseball would be beneficial.
All right, the organizational issues are pretty solid. You've got a clear statement of the proposition. There's a good preview. Your internal signposting, I thought it was pretty good on the first point. The second point, you got to a little bit more fuzzy. On your supporting information, you rely on the examples of other leagues using instant replay, and you've got one statistic, or actually it's a summary of public opinion evidence about the use of instant replay. To me, I think you need some authorities who are talking about the viability of this, the likelihood that it would have a positive impact on the game, whether they be officials in Major League Baseball, like umpires or executives, whether they be sports writers, because from a fan's point of view, it depends, of course, on what kinds of things are going to be reviewed. Now, you suggested that it would be clearly a particular kind of call, and like, whether or not somebody's tagged out or whether or not they touch the base or something along those lines. But I don't know what proposals there are, and the idea, for instance, of having every strike and ball being reviewed by instant replay doesn't sound like it's all that appealing to me, and I'd go the opposite direction instead of saying, oh yeah, let me go to the game so I can watch a whole bunch of instant replays of all that kind of stuff. The other thing that occurred to me is that sometimes the calls end the play on the field, and if you go through instant replay, I'm not sure what impact that would have on the way the game is being played at that particular point. So there is some issues that are involved that need to be a little bit more elaborated on. I thought you did a nice job speaking to the audience. You add a little bit of personal credibility with your season ticket ownership and the way you talk to the audience. Thank you.